Welcome everyone to First Peoples Cultural Council online learning series. We are going to start the webinar now. I invite you to turn your cameras on if you'd like, but no pressure. I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Loren Graham. I am a language program coordinator with the Pathways to Language Vitality team here at First Peoples Cultural Council. My heritage is mixed European ancestry, as well as Liquidulk from up in Cape Mudge, which is also known as Quadra Island, just located near Campbell River, if you're familiar with the island. So today's webinar is called Akvл. We Will Rise Higher and Higher, presented by Hḻagṃ, Fran Brown. So before we get into the presentation, I would just like to briefly share about First Peoples Cultural Council, as I know that some of you may be new to our organization. So FPCC, as we call it, is a British Columbia provincial organization with a mandate to support language revitalization, language, arts, and cultural heritage revitalization for Indigenous communities across what is now known as British Columbia. First Peoples Cultural Council is grateful to have our home offices on the beautiful unceded territory of the WSÁNEĆ people in the village of Hḻagṃ. And that's where I'm calling in from today. We also have an additional satellite office in Kamloops within the territory of the Secwepemc people. And we do, because of the work that we do, we provide support across what is now known as BC First Nations. I'm curious to know where all of you are joining us from today, so feel free to share that in the chat on the right side of where you can toggle to the top of the screen and it'll pop up on the right. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Hḻagṃ, who is Fran Brown and is someone that I personally met last year when I was first starting out with First Peoples Cultural Council, supporting the first summer learning series. So now, more than a full year later, I am working with the Pathways to Language Vitality team, supporting one of the grants that supports the important language revitalization work that Hḻagṃ leads in her community. And recently, some of the people that we work with, Sydney Moore, Aliana Parker, and Thea Harris, were able to attend the opening ceremony of their language house in Bella Bella. And so this is, a strong relationship, and very grateful to be able to provide space for Fran to share all this amazing work. So please, Fran, take it away.
We hitmas, we umax, Clawanini nawakla, wawaktus, good clout to honor guests. Hḻagṃ got Clanugwa, Clanugwa Gukwas, Hitmas, Wikwanat, Latach xais to Hitmas, Jixiwalis, Latach Uyalit, Lagachneach Bukwa to Kamas Umkuchla, Wallace Gayaxicha Eakaux. I am Hḻagṃ. I come from the house of Chief Wikwanat of the xais and Chief Jixiwalis of the Uyalit. My mom is Lagachneach, and my late father is Kamas. Thank you all for being here today. I've taught Heiltsuk for 19 years, and I've been involved with Heiltsuk initiatives for 25 years, and I'm currently the Heiltsuk Initiatives Director for our nation. So I will share my screen. So akvl is the name that was chosen for our Heiltsuk initiatives, and it means we will rise higher and higher. And our staff chose that to be the name of our language building as well. So with our Heiltsuk initiatives, we built success by success. We've done site visits. We've been to New Zealand to look at the Kohana Reo. We invited Dr. Gray Morning here to Bella Bella. He did a workshop, and he believes that we're visual learners, and his methodology is based on skill sets. Skill set 1 is nouns, skill set 2 is verbs, skill set 3 is preposition, skill set 4 is plural. I used that a lot when I was teaching at the Bella Bella Community School. And we also visited Chase and had training in TPR1 and TPR2. We went to the Squamish Nation on Capres and Tsleil-Waututh, and we learned about the Where Are Your Keys methodology. We went over to Ontario and visited Brian Miracle and learned about the root word. And we also went to Hawaii to learn about the Punanaleo. So our Heiltsuk initiatives, we did some, I just wanted to share a chronological timeline. So it's been taught in our school for 43 years and there's no fluency. In 2019, there was 12 fluent speakers. In 2020, we started our full-time Heiltsuk adult immersion. And as well, we started our Heiltsuk nest from 1 to 4-year-olds. We also started our urban Heiltsuk. In 21, we started our silent speakers. In 22, our Heiltsuk, our strong Heiltsuk youth. In 23, xais, our prenatal program. And in 2024, it's been a really tough 2 years. We're down to 5 authentic speakers. But with the work that we're doing, we have 21 intermediate high speakers. In 2019, we have our first ever dedicated language space. I really appreciate the research that we did, because one of the questions we asked was, why is it important to have a dedicated language space? And it was Brian Miracle who put it really simply. He said, to create speakers, you need dedicated language space. So we have one right in our own governance house. This is our big house. Akvl clients, we will rise higher and higher. And this is the, we did a groundbreaking ceremony for where our language center was going to be. And this is the plan, the blueprint. So in our language building costed $5.5 million. And in our language building, we have 3 offices, 1 adult immersion classroom, 1 language nest classroom, and we have a nap room in the nest. We have a boys and girls bathroom in the nest. We have a kitchen, an archive room, recording studio, and we have wheelchair access men and women's bathroom. We have a laundry room, janitor's room, storage room, and a reception area. What's working for us? We have 3 young instructors. We have 5 fluent elders. We have a dynamic, committed team. We've had the methodologies we use are TPR1 and 2, Where Are Your Keys, and Dr. Gray Morning. And what we found that with these methodologies, it's inclusive, it's fun and engaging. We hear lots of laughter in the adult immersion every day. So we had to take the time to speak to our elders to let them know that our tongues were first trained to speak English, and rather than correct us, focus more on repetition so that we'll eventually get our pronunciation to their standard. Another huge issue is wage parity. When I went to New Zealand, I always felt like we were not to the same standards of teaching of a teacher. And I asked a question over there, so how do you pay your teachers? And they said, well, we pay them more than a regular teacher. And I was like, yay, somebody's finally on the same page as me. So when we started the adult immersion, we made sure that the instructor's salary was equal to that of SFU. And for our Language Nest teachers, we made sure that their first year was equal to School District 49, which is Bella Coola. We pay our students a stipend. They get $20 an hour, and they're in the classroom 5 hours a day. And we made sure that we cater to the parents so that they could get their kids off to school. We don't start until 9:30. We have Pro-D every summer, or at least 4 times a year. And a lot of the focus has been on place-based learning, like going out into our territory with food gathering and learning about our old village sites and all of our cultural features that are in our territory. And I said, as we have summer training, and the whole month of July is focused on that. So when there's burnout, admin really steps up and offers support. We feel, even though we haven't done although we haven't invited anybody here to measure, we feel like on our language proficiency scale, we have 28, I think it is, intermediate to high speakers, and we have the INLG certificate and diploma program with our adult immersion, and we also have a strategic plan, and we also have now phase to the next 5 years. We're in partnership with UBC and Simon Fraser University, and our sponsors are the Donner Foundation, First Peoples Cultural Council, First Voices, and we just secured another grant from the Catholic Church of Vancouver. Some of our challenges from the beginning, of course, there was COVID restrictions. We weren't quite over yet. The restrictions weren't quite over yet, and the elders had had enough. And one of them said, I don't care. I'm coming. I'm going to the classroom. So we just had to let that happen. It's very expensive, so we have to have multiple funding applications. And what we learned quickly was we had to create an attendance policy, not only for our adult immersion, but our Language Nest. We needed transportation for our elders and our SASM to get from the Language Nest to the school. Safety became an issue with our elders around our big house because we don't have cemented walkways, and so that was a real issue. So we made sure that was taken care of. Space constraints. Before we got the language, we had to move the Language Nest at least 3 times before we got that designated space. And it's really nice that we do have our dedicated space in our big house, but it becomes a real issue when we have community events. So we've had to find a way to work with that. And basically, our students are getting assignments, and they take notes when they're in the big house events, community events. Capacity building takes time. It took us 3 years. Curriculum development, we don't have any pedagogy. We have a lot of historical curriculum, and we're creating new, but we still got to get to the pedagogy. We've had work overload with senior staff. Teacher training takes time. We're doing great on creating speakers, but we need to continue to provide opportunities for teacher training. And what we realized in year one, we had burnout from both the adult immersion and the language nest. Staying on here. Hḻagṃ. So this is a word that I found that we could use to, turn things around. So like I said, the elders decided that they were an attendant person. And we started to delegate staff to assist with funding applications, because prior to that, it was just me. Our policies, we had to make it a living document so that we continue to amend policies. And believe me, if you don't have your document, or let's put it this way, believe me, if there's loopholes, it's going to be found. So that's why it's a living document. We're realizing that we're having to amend our policies each year. So a van was purchased for our SASM, and for the elders, we've had to hire our students who have vehicles to transport the elders, or we have what's called a iyax van, which is available for the women and our elders in our community. And we've had staff and students assist the elders to the classroom. So we did a renovation application for the language nest, so they have their own dedicated space until we move into our building. And as I said, we've had to find ways to make time useful when there's community events in the big house. So the students are assigned, they have assignments for potlatch days, and they have to translate from Heiltsukļa to English and vice versa. As part of our capacity development, we have hired 2 staff. They're on full-time, but they were permitted to attend the language classes for 5 hours a day and do their regular duties for 2.5. We continue to create language resources using Canva, iMovies, and I can't see that. I can't see my screen. Oops, sorry. QR codes. So when we had our graduates after they graduated from year 2 and have 1,880 hours of Heiltsukļa, we did internal transfer, so they were just hired on the spot. We do have summer training in July, and then as part of our support, the admin team supports nest and adult immersion. So this is a picture of our Heiltsukļa adult immersion. This is cohort 2, year 2. And this program is co-sponsored by FPCC. And as you can see in there, there's elders. What we found is that we can't expect more than 3 hours a day from the elders in the classroom. And it may be even less next year for us, because all of our elders are in their 80s. And all of them have ailing health. So next year, I'm thinking the most we'll have them in there is 1 to 2 hours, and we give them that opportunity. So this is just a demonstration of our chart of our INLG certificate and diploma program. So we started in 2021, and that was our first cohort. We had 10 enrolled and 10 graduated, and we started another year one in 21-22. We had 15 enrolled, 11 graduated, and then we started year two in 22-23, and we had 16 enrolled and 9 graduated. And then in 23-24, we had another first year cohort, 12 enrolled and 8 graduated. And this year we have a year one and a year two because we didn't want to lose the year one for a whole year. We felt that if we did that, they would just lose all the language that they had learned. So we're a year ahead of ourselves in this year because we weren't supposed to start year one and year two until 25-26. So we have 14 enrolled in year one, and they are in the big house right now. Once we move to the language building, year two will move over there, and year one will stay in the big house. We were really fortunate to find another room in our big house for year two, and that's where they are until we move over. Scaling up. So in 2019, there was just myself, and by 2024, I have a team of 56, and that's full-time, part-time, contracted services, and student stipend. And as you can see, 98% employed of the graduates. So 5 went to our xայս, our language nest. 2 went to our akvl Child and Family Services. 2 to the Bella Bella Community School. 1 to the țaqvḻa daycare. 1 to Cook Society. And then we have 4 in our Okinawa clients, our adult immersion. I want to share this with you. This is one of our language resources. Okay, now can you hear? Okay. So I just wanted to share with my teacher background. It's really helped me to know the direction that we're going to go in creating language resources and building our curriculum especially for our language nest. The young lady that I hired, her name was ța qvḻa, and she's a musician. And I knew, I worked with her before, and I knew that I wanted to make our songs more attractive for our children, because all of our recordings prior to this had no instrumentals or in the background. So I was really proud of this project. We did 25 songs altogether. And I wanted to share, this is our year 2 this year, and they're doing conversational Heiltsuk. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to share this. For those of you that are familiar with Where Are Your Keys, this is a setup. And they went for a walk and they're just doing a setup right in the community. And I wanted to also share that the one that was speaking in the end is very shy. And what we've been hearing from the young people is it's been life-changing for them. A lot of them won't get up and speak in public in using English, but they'll get up and speak in our language. And she's one of them. At their family potluck, she got up and said a prayer in Heiltsuk'la. So the other thing, as a teacher, I noted a lot of our, when we wanted to use things in the classroom, a lot of the teacher resources were that of back east to Prairie, and it doesn't, it's not culturally appropriate for us. So this was a great opportunity for me to, hire our local artists and create language resources using our art forms. And so we've created books, posters, flashcards, and a lot of them you can find on YouTube. And we do have auto tutorials for parents to use when they're working with their children, and can be reached and reach all our Heiltsuk no matter where they reside. And this is another project that was co-sponsored by FPCC. So we have our Hḻagṃ, our beloved children, our language nest. We started in 22-23, we had 6, and that was really a pilot for us. We learned a lot that year, and through our learning, we realized what we had to do different in the next year. So in 23-24, we had 10, and this year we have 9. So what we learned from last year is we had way too many babies still in Pampers. And so this year we put a limit on there. We have 3 babies in Pampers, and the other 6 are potty trained.
Way.
So this little one has been in our nest since we started, and she was home with her mom, and she said, "Mom, we forgot to pray." So this is her saying the prayer that they say every day in the language nest. She took it home and teaching her mom. And what I'm really proud of this year is this little one's mom joined our adult immersion program. Her work granted her an educational leave so she could learn Heiltsuk'la along with her daughter. So our akvl, this is our beautiful pregnant woman project. It's in 22-23, we had 12 couples, or 6 couples. 23-24, we had 6 couples, and this year we have, 3 couples last year, and this year we have 6 again. So we did research for this project, and this project came about because of a community meeting. We had a community member got up and asked us about this belly bud program, and his knowledge was on Mozart. So the research we did, it's baby starts to identify at 18 weeks. And they start to hear at 20 weeks. Their memory begins at 30 weeks. And baby will remember voices and songs while in the womb. And baby will be comforted during infancy and beyond with what they heard in the womb. So this is our belly buds. I just wanted to show a demonstration of how it's used. So what the parents have been doing is we've given them all of the links for all of our audio recording of songs or books, whatever we have in audio, and they have to record every day, and they're allowed to do it an hour a day. And we also provided a stipend for both parents. This year we had to cut back just because we're strapped for a bit of funding this year, so it's just one parent. And this one here, I'm going to play for you. It's the babies are with drumming. They're Heiltsuk. They're part of our Belly Buds program. So what's interesting about this is I understand what he's saying. He's saying in our song, it says, yeah, you Juani, gu Juani, dances like a clam, and that's our clam dance. And the interesting thing about this too is that his drum beat is right on. And the reason why he's drumming really fast is because that's how we let the dancers know it's time for them to come off the floor. And the twins, they're a year old, a little over a year old. And here's little Quatney having a setup with his mom.
We like apple.
Where's the apple?
Apple. Quatney, masika.
What is this?
Apple.
Apple, he
Quatney,
says.
we like ḻagṃ.
Where's your tongue?
ḻagṃ. We like hasty.
Where's your head?
Heiltsuk. We like iyax.
Where's your feet?
We like apple.
Where's the apple?
ﷺ apple, Quatney.
Give me the apple.
Apple. Quatney.
So I thought it was really important to share these videos because, you know, the work the parents put in with our Belly Buds program speaks for itself through the children. So we also have a urban ḻagṃ program. We started off with about 15 and it dwindled down to 7. And what we realized was that we wanted to keep these 7 because they were very committed. So, and they also receive a stipend, $20 an hour, but they get together 3 times a week. I think it's Monday and Wednesday. It's 2 hours a day. And then on Sunday, they have a community one. So this year, we're just starting again, and they're 6. And we're going to keep it like that because we want to see where we will be by next September. Because one of our goals is to have full-time ḻagṃ immersion in the city. Our Heiltsuk, our strong Heiltsuk youth, we started that in 22. And as you can see, we started it off with 14, went down to 10 and 23. And we decided to keep it cap it at 10 in 2024. So what we provide for them is life and employable skills training. They learn about Heiltsuk history, our akvl laws, our ancestral laws. We do place-based learning. They do drumming, singing, and dancing, cedar bark weaving, drum making. We do a cultural exchange trip. So far, we've gone to Hḻagṃ, Alert Bay, And for 2025, we're planning to go to Hḻagṃ. They've also done some silk screening, jewelry making, photo shoot, and they participated in a local fashion show. And they have life skills training for 1 week. And this is the youth practicing singing and drumming in our big house. One of the most important things I've learned as a drummer and singer is you have to teach drumming as well as singing when you're learning. I want to share our language app. So this is our Heiltsuk app. We work with ç, and what I have to say about our language app and why I hesitated for a year is because it's very expensive. This costed us $68,000 with travel, accommodation, them coming to Bella Bella, our team going over there. But I like the outcome. So this is our categories. Our plan was to use a lot of Heiltsuk art form, but that's another huge task. So I'll just show you categories. So, and they have,
Tatichas. Hatzachdi.
okay, that's our categories. This is our flashcards.
Ka.
Our ebooks.
Wachtus. Wachtus.
Kakam.
Grandmother.
So it's going slow enough so that adult parents,
Grandfather.
so that parents can use these as tutorials.
akvl.
Great grandparents.
Omp.
Father. Father.
Oh, sorry. I got one more to show you. So that was our ebooks, and there's our map. So we're in phase 2 now, and we're planning for the next 5 years, and it's to ensure sustained growth and progress. And we're going to focus on advancing our goals without losing ground. And everything that we did in phase 1 had to be different for phase 2. So we had a committee. There was myself, our digitization IT manager, and one of the instructors down, and we went through, what was needed for phase 2. So we need more teacher training and development. We need early childhood education certificate, language families, curriculum development. We want to make sure that we have a pedagogy in place. K4 ʰagṃ immersion. We want more place-based learning opportunities, language camps, digital learning resources, staffing and financial management. We're looking at a field center, hoping to collaborate with our local college here in Bella Bella, digital file management training, digital preservation and accessibility, and we are looking at having a ʰagṃ school from K4 to grade 4. So this was our soft opening on November 28th. This is actually the front of our language building. And we had our chiefs do a chief's welcome dance, and we had eagle down in their headdresses. And when the eagle down spreads, it's a significance of peace. And we also had the ladies doing a ladies' welcome. And the ladies' welcome is a beautiful dance, and the significance of that is their hand movement is really important because they're blessing the area where we are as well. So this is the front mural of our building. We hired Kelsey Hall, and the directive he was given was to make sure that it was inclusive of all Heiltsuk, and that means to include our 4 main crests. So the human figure in the middle is the human figure in the middle with Raven speaking xais into the ears, riding on the back of the killer whale. Sorry, I can't see my whole screen here. Oh, you guys can all read that, right? So when we decided, he gave us 3 to choose from, and then we gave the staff and students the honors of making a choice because, you know, they're taking part in all of our language initiatives, and this was the design they chose. So we're 1 year ahead of ourselves when it comes to Heiltsuk families. You know, ť'gaqvḻa, Stephen, Gwatney, and she's pregnant, so we have baby Brown. ť'gaqvḻa was in our year 1 and year 2. She also did mentor apprentice, and she was part of the master apprentice last year. She's involved with our xais for the 2nd time, and she's currently working with Hḻagṃ as providing community language classes 2 times a week. And this is another setup with her little one, Gwatney.
Gwatney.
Sit down, Gwatney.
Gwatney. Gwatney.
Okay.
Kla. No gwa.
I am Gwatney.
No gwa.
I am Heiltsuk.
La. Tax. Waglisla.
I live in Hḻagṃ.
Kakatisila. Hasten. Gwatney hasten. Doewin. Gwachanis. Exu. Cups. Gabi. Gabi. Uwe. Gakwit. Hadani. Hadani. Gwatney masig ya. Hadani. Exu. Mia. Do. Muggly. Exu. Gwatney. Gwashila. Gwashila.
We're finished.
Gwatney. Winisaka. Chew.
Oh, thank you so much, Hḻagṃ, for sharing all of that with us today. So thank you all so much for attending this online learning series. It's been really lovely to share this space together this morning and learn about such amazing work. And I know that there's many of you, lots of names that I recognize, that you're all doing such amazing work. So thank you all for taking the time this morning. And so, yeah, that is the end of our webinar and Q&A. So, xḻagṃ, thank you again.
Wallace Gayaxicha, thank you. And Wanixicha.